Hey, what's up, beauty family? Welcome to our channel. My name is Vedant, and this is episode 2 of Expense Tracker app in Flutter. By the way, in this video, we'll be building a transaction page as we have seen in the title. And if you haven't watched our previous video, which was the episode 1 of this application, so you can watch. You can see the link at the card. Also, I provided in the description box. So let's see what have we done in the previous video. Let me just restart the application, and when I just open this application, you can see we have a splash screen, and after that we are redirect into a new page. Alright, so this is what we created in our previous video, and now in this video I'm just creating a transaction page. So I'll come to screens, and in screens I'm gonna create a new file which will be add transactions dot. Okay, so here I will just zoom it a bit. Okay, now I'm just starting with again, that is very common, by importing material.dart and creating a stateful widget. So, and let me name it as add transaction. Awesome. And now here let me just replace this placeholder with a scaffold, and let me just move this const. Alright, so in this scaffold, what I'm going to do is, firstly I'm gonna create a body which actually will be a list view. And now list view I'm going to keep it because, as you know, as you have seen in the intro, what are we going to create, and if we will use column or anything else, so it will give few errors like the overflow error and many more. So I am using list view for a better experience of the user. Alright, so I've make a body list view. In this I am providing some childrens, and the childrens will be like, first one will be the row, and in the row again we have to provide the children, and the first children it will be a icon. Alright, so the icon I'm gonna provide is the rupees one, because in the first one we'll having the amount. So I'll say icons dot, it's like currency rupees or what, currency rupees maybe, or rupee, it's here, and let me just save it. And in the main dot, let me just replace the home with the add transaction. Let me just save it now and restart the application. Okay, so here we have our icon, and I'm gonna also having a specific background color. So I'm writing background color to be color, and the color code is, I remembered, 0xFF, and then you have to type 6 times 3, so 1 2 3 4 5 6. Awesome. So let me just save it, and this is the background color which I'm gonna use. So it will be a dark theme, and also you can also change it, like if your phone is in the light theme, so it will change accordingly, which we will do in the upcoming episodes. So I'll just change, I'll just write here color and set to be colors.wide, and now let's see. Alright, it's looking cool. Now let me just add the scaffold in a widget which will be a safe area. Also let me in this children, let me add few more row, like one more, which will be carrying the icon and the text. So first let me add a text. The text will say as add transaction, so it will look like that. And I know it's not looking cool, so let me just start styling it a bit. I'll just say style, and in this style I'll say textile, and in this textile first I'm gonna give its color, which will be colors.white. After that I'm gonna give a font size around 30 maybe. Let me just save it and see, it's looking cool. The missing is font weight, because after that it will look much better. So let me give it around font weight dot w 700 maybe. Let me just save it and see. Alright, so it's looking cool. Also you can just capitalize it if you want in the capitalized manner. Alright, so it will look like that. Paste at the starting. Alright, now let's save it. Alright, it's looking cool. Now I can basically give some padding, like let me come to the list view. In the whole list view I'm giving a bit padding, or you can just specifically give it in this row. Let's just save it. It's looking cool. Now let me just wrap this row also with the padding of same, which will be 10. Alright, so as I have told you, this is a row, so we want one more thing, which will be a back icon. So let's have a icon, and this icon will be icons dot, it's like arrow back, maybe arrow back iOS. Let me just save it. It seems to be look good. Now let me just also have a color of colors dot white. Awesome. Now it's just the icon, but I want it as a button. So what I will do, I will just remove it for now, or I can just copy this one and I can remove this line, because I am replacing this line with a elevated button dot icon. So in this elevated button dot icon, I want on press to be null for now, and the icon I want this one which I copied. Let me just paste it. Alright, cool. We are having a error, and I know what's the error. So we have to just write here icon. Okay, it's cool, icon. Now here I have to give a label. So the label will be of a type text, and which will be blank. And here I have to add a comma. So and one here too. So now we have no error. Now let me just save it. Okay, we have data. Oh sorry, I want the blank, and it will look like that. Now what I want is, whenever I click on this, so I want to go back, which will be the home page. Let's say which will be this page which we have, which is starting after this splash screen. Alright, so first of all, this is the blue color which is not looking good, so I want it transparent. So what will I do? Here we have one thing called style. I'll say style and say elevated button dot style from, and here we can directly put background color, and the background color will be the same color which is our background color. Awesome. Now if I just save it, the color of the button has been changed, but we can also see a bit border. So what I will do, I will just type here elevation to be 0. Now if I see, and if I save it, so you can see it's looking cool. Now what I want is, whenever I press on this button, I want to go back. So I'll just come to this on pressed. Now if I just save it, and now whenever I just move back, so I'll just come to this home page. Now I've just created an icon. After that I have to create a text form field. So I'll say text form field. This text form field, I will add a decoration to be a input decoration, and a hint text to be 0. Okay, so let me just save it, and yes, it will give us the error. As you have seen, we have got the error. So I'll just wrap this text form field with a widget called as expanded. Awesome. Now let me just save it again, and let's see now. Okay, restart. Now hopefully we should not get any error. Alright, awesome. So here we have our text form field. We have to customize it a bit. So I will first say hint style should be a text style, and in this text style I'm just saying the color should be colors dot white. It's looking awesome. And now I'm just increase a bit its font size. So I'm saying I want to increase your font size. Save it and see. Not not much good as I was thinking. 25 will look good, but what happened whenever I type something, like if I just save it, and here whenever I type something, so the we have to style this also. So okay, what I will do, I will just copy this text style from here, and in this input decoration, after this input decoration, I will say style to be the text style this. Now if I save it, and now whenever I type something here, let's say 57 or 54, so it occurs like that only. Cool. Now I don't want this line to be here, so in this decoration part only, input decoration, I will say border to be input border dot none. So here we have a error, I have not put the comma. Cool. Now if I just see it now, it's looking awesome. Although I want a space between these two, so let me just have a space between this icon and expanded widget. I'll say sized box, and in the size box I am providing a width around maybe 12. Let's see, it's looking cool. Now we are not putting this icon as simple as this. I'm just wrapping it with a container. So we have put it in a container. Now let's start styling it. So I'll say decoration to be a box decoration. This box decoration I will using a color. So in this I'm using the color which is this one. Alright, so let me just remove this, and this is the color which I'm using for the boxes. Now if I just save it, okay, you can see this color. So now what I want is, I'm gonna just say here give a border radius, but before that let me just increase the bit size for that. So I'll just declare a padding of as insects dot all around maybe 20 or what. Okay, 20 is too big, I'm sorry. You can go with 10. Awesome, it's looking cool. Now here I have to just have a border radius. Awesome, it's looking cool. Or I can just say a bit 12. Awesome. So now we have one error, like whenever I just I can type here anything. Alright, but what I want, this is the amount section, so we can only type the numbers. So alright, so for that I have to just say here input formatters, and here we have one thing called filtering text input formatter dot digits only. Now what happened if I just save it, I cannot type any text here, but there's also one error that this keyboard is opening. What I want, the keyboard should only be the numbers one. Here we have something called keyboard type. So in this keyboard type I will say the text input type should be dot number. Awesome and cool. Now if I just click here, you can see we have only numbers. So I type 500, seems like that. So now what I will do, I'll just copy this whole row. Also I want to give a comment here as you are taking the input, so I've just provided that one. Now let me just paste this here, and here I have to have just a bit changes, like instead of this 0 I have to say not on transaction. Okay, and what I want is the icon to change, so we have something called added document maybe, and all the things will be a bit same. Also I don't want these two things, so because in the input he can type, or he or she can type anything as they want as a note. So if I just save it, now you see I just say I have 500 rupees, it will ask for note on transaction. I say I had it for the party, and that's how it's looking. Okay, congratulations, you have just created two of the input taking session which are looking very cool. And after that I will having a choice of the whether it was an income or an expense, because I have to choose, like if this party was in this 500 rupees which I spent on the party, was it an income or an expense. In order to do that, firstly let me just copy this icon. Awesome, and here after this padding let me just create another comment as easy as it could be. Now let me just create a row here. First of all, I have to provide a children. Now I can just paste it. Now if I just save it, it seems to be look like that. And also I want to wrap this row under a padding. Okay, it's looking cool now, but I don't want to this icon. I want another icon. Alright guys, so I'm using this icon for now, but yeah, I know it's not looking good as you want as income or expense, so I'll just change it in the future videos, upcoming videos. So alright, so we have just created icon. Now I want here, like I should choose was it as income or an expense. So I'll just come outside this container, and here I'm going to create a choice tip. So the label will be a text which will be income. I want a label to be income, and the selected value will be true for now. So if I just save it, it seems to look like that. Alright, which is looking good, not bad. So but I want a bit change, like I want a size box here. So I know it's not looking good, like this income is not looking good, so I have to just customize it a bit. But before that, let me just copy this choice tip with this size box and paste it here too, which will be expands, and the selected value will be false for now. Let me just save it. Alright, so it's look like that. Now let's start the customization. We have this label style which I want as a text style. So I want to have some text style. So for the text styling, before that, what I will say, I'll just come upwards, and here I will just create few variables. So first the variable will be for the amount one, as the amount will be as int, so I am creating as a int amount, and another one will be for note. So let's say string note, and the default will be like few expands. I know it's not looking good, but I'll just change it in the future. Also I want again a string which will be a type, so like the default one will be income, and here I will say the first I'll say selected. Okay, outside it I can say selected color. So selected color will be the color which is of our icon. So I save. Alright, so it's looking like when it's been selected. And now in the textile I will say like color, I want to change the color. I will say like if type is equal to income, then I want the color to be colors dot white. Otherwise you can take a color to be black. Now if I just save it, you know, like the color, the selected, it's selected, so the color has been changed. Now I also want the size, so I'll say font size. Again I'll say if type is equal to income, then I want it maybe 20, otherwise I want it 16. Let me just save it. It's looking cool. Let me just make it a bit more, 22. Awesome. Then I want a font weight. Then the font weight will be font weight dot w700. Otherwise it will be the default one, which is font weight dot w500. Let me just save it. Awesome. Now this all styling will be having. So also I want, like if I just click on it, then it should be selected. I don't want it to be static. So here we have some more features like on selected. In this on selected I can pass this. Alright, so what I want is whenever it's on selected, so I will say if. Let me just create if, and here the condition will be val, which is a value. Now here I will say to set a state, and here I will say then the type should be equal to income. Here we will have the error of val because here we have value, so I'll just replace this will also with val. Now what will happen, if I will click on it, then it will be income, otherwise it will not be income. So let me just first copy this whole choice chip and paste it here. Income should be replaced with expense, so here I'll say expense, and I want anything else. I want nothing. Let me just save it. So okay, what's the error. Alright, so I've said selected to be false. Now instead of this false, I'll say if type is equal to expands, because we are changing it. So if I'll say if type is equal to expands, then I want selected to be true, otherwise I want it to be same false. Let me just save it. Now it's looking awesome. Now let me just copy this whole line and paste for this one. Awesome. Now I just want that it should be income. Let me just save it. Alright, now when I press on this income, the income will be selected and this expenses will be selected. Alright, so all the things has been done. Just two things are remaining, the date and the add button. Alright, so let's create a date one. So I'll just come outside this padding and here. Alright, so let's start doing that. So for the dates, I will just copy one of the icon and here I will just again add a comment. Alright, I know it's a bit funny one, but let's leave it for now and focus on our code. So let me just create another row here which will contain children's, and in this children I am just providing this container tool. Now let's see how it's looking. Alright, as expected. Also I want to change this edit document to something called date range, and let me just wrap up this row in the padding. Awesome. Now what I want is after this date one, I will come here. After this container, basically I want a text which should say date. If I just save it, it looks like that. Let me just copy all the styling. Alright, so the styling will be this. Okay, also I want padding between these two. Let's again give a size cool, but I guess the size is a bit bigger. Okay, let it be 20 only. But I don't want to appear date. What I want is it should appear what's today's date. Alright, so for that I'm just coming upwards and here I am creating another variable which will be of type date time, and let's call this as a selected date because we want like what date should be selected, it should be print. And I'll say date time selected date should be equal to we have one feature called date time dot now. So what happens now if I just come here again and I can say text should be select date. Let me just save it. Alright, it's looking a bit weird, I know, but I have to say selected date. Alright, so here also I'm say selected date because I don't want it select date. Select date would be for another one which you will know afterwards. So let's save. Cool, but I don't want this whole thing, I just want the today's date. So what I'll say, I want the selected date. First let me have this under the curly bracket and I'll just say selected date dot day. Now if I save it, it will just say 16. As you know, this today is 16. I also want this today's month, like then I also want that which month is going on. So we don't have feature like that. What we have, let me just show you, and it will appear 3 only. Okay, but I want it should be occurs in the alphabetical manner. So for that I have to just create a new list. Let me just create it fast. I'll say list, the type will be of string. Let me just call it as month and let's start creating it. Alright, so we have just created the list, which is very easy to create. You have to just type all the months. Alright, so let's just come here, add it down, and instead of this selected dot month, we want it like this only, but what I will show you what we want. Alright, so here I will say month, which I've just created month, and in this I'll say the parameter should be like under this select date dot month. Now if I just save it, you see it's coming April, but the current month is March. So let me show you why it's coming like that, because you see this is an array, and the array, if we have 12, if like here 12 months, it will say it is 11 because it starts from 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, so it comes like that. Alright, so what it starts with 0, and to having the current month, what I'll say, I'll just minus it with 1. Alright, so now it's coming out 16 March as we want. That's today's date. Alright, so whenever you will just come here, see, so that today's date, which is that current date, will occurs here. Now what I want, that whenever I click here, I show date picker, like I can pick the date. After this I will create another variable which will be of type future, because we want in a future like that. So then we can I want here is a void, and after that we have to say it a name. We have to give it a name. So let's give it a name of like underscore like select date or what, select date. And after this I will say build context, and here I'll just say context only. And now I will just say async because it will be a synchronous method. And after that, okay, let me just remove this, select date. Awesome. Now here I'm seeing like final date time. Okay, final date time should be like, let's name it as picked, or you can name it as anything else because we're gonna pick it. So I'll say picked, and we have to say await because as we are using async, so let's say await. And after that I'll say show date picker. Alright, so it will show the date picker. Alright, so we want the initial date. So initial date will be selected date, and then we want the first date, and we have to give the year. So like my current year where I'm making this video is 2023, so you can say like 2023, and the month could be like first month. The year I can give it is maybe 21500 as random one. And awesome, the month I will taking it as a 12. Okay, now let me just do it like that. Awesome, now everything has been done, but now I also want one more thing, which would be if picked is not equal to null, and just a second, is not equal to null, and picked is int equal the maybe selected date. Then I just want to say I will just call the set state, and here I will say that selected date will be equal to picked. Awesome, so the date will be selected will appear here instead of the 16th of March. Alright, so in order to like call this function, we need some button award which we haven't created for now. So what I can do is I can just replace either this icon with the button or this text with the button. So if I just replace this text with the button, we have something called as text button. Since this on pressed, I will just say the select date, and it will ask for the context, which will be the context only. Let me just save it, and if I just click on this, it opens the show date picker, and here I can select my date and press OK. So it appears that only, like if I say it was the 16th of February, and if I just say OK, so it appears 16 Feb. Alright guys, all the thing has been done, but we have to create a button also, like a add button. So after this padding, I'm just creating a simple elevated button child, which will be the text. So let me just say tags, and let's call this text as add. If I save it, it appears like that. And let me just copy this color, and here in the styling I will say elevated button dot style from, and I will say background color should be, and if I just save it, it seems to look like that, which is good. Now I have to just wrap this elevated button under a container and define the container of width of double dot infinity and maybe the height around 50. If I just save it, okay, it comes like that. Awesome. Also I want a bit padding here. Cool, so this is the add button which will look like that. Also if you want to have some styling in text you can, but I don't think so we should style it more. It's looking good by default, but let's style it a bit. And now what I want is whenever I click on this button, I should redirect into the home page, and it should fetch all the data. But in the next video, I'm just going to fetch all the data. But before that, I have to just check like whether I am doing it right or not. All the things are right or not. You can also check with me, and this is the important step. Don't skip this step. So I will just come here with the starting in this 01, where in the amount session. Okay, then this text form field, I will come and we have something called as on change. So I want the on change, and it will be the value. Instead of this value, we will have the val. Just say try block. Alright, so inside this try block, what I will say that amount, what the amount is, will be equal to int, as we as int. So dot parse. And I'll just pass the val, which is the value. Alright, so again I want to just come on this note on transaction session, and here also I can have a on change property. In this on change, what I want is that note should be equal to the value. Alright, this val, awesome. Now after just adding those both, what can I do? I just come this on pressed, and I can just print whatever the amount, and I can print the note, whatever the note it is, and the type, what's the type, and the date, which I will say selected date. What is the selected date? Alright, so all the things I wanted like that. Now we already have all the things, but let's restart the application. The thing has been set to default. Now let's add some rupees. I say it is 5,000. And note on transaction, it could be like maybe salary, let's say. And by default it's selected income, which I already want. If you want an expense, you can just select expense. I'll say actually I'm sorry, but I got it on yesterday, so I'll say 50. And what if I just press on this add button? Alright, so it's coming right. The amount is 5,000, as you can see. The note is salary, the type is income, and this is the date. Alright guys, hope you learned something new, and if yes, so don't forget to like the video, subscribe our channel, and yes, I will meet you in the next video. Till that time, bye bye guys.